Yellow. What's up, gang? Couple minutes behind. Actually meant to bump this 10 minutes out. Realized right before I started it, I'm 5 minutes late. From the 5 minutes I tried to buy myself. What's up? Standy, hi. Wow, first one. To what do I do? Oh, the pleasure. How are you? Good afternoon. Do I get royalties from Souza's show? Oh, yeah. I guess you definitely came up with that name there, huh? You were the first person to say it. I'm pretty sure you were. I think you either said it on like one of the first shows or you might have even sent that to me like in a DM of suggestions. But either way, you definitely get full credit for it. Greg, what's up, man? How you doing? Kenneth, good to see you. Brock, is this thing on? Wait, what is that photo? Oh, that's hilarious. Visualizing in the mirror the man I want to become, and it's a picture of Sevon sitting there. That's amazing. That's amazing. Brock, what's up, man? Yeah, sorry for the wait, guys. I appreciate it. Judy, Susie, yay, thank you. Jamaica me crazy, man. I know. Sorry about that. Pat Lang JR is still mad. Vindicate, JR rates this show a 5 so far. Man, wasn't JR just a freaking just a delight on that show? That was so good. I was really glad that JR showed his side. Gosh, I can't even speak. Showed that side of himself. It was really cool. Obviously, I've got to spend a lot of time with JR at competitions and different things like that. And people really underestimate like how funny he is because typically when he's like on these shows, he's very like stoic, very thoughtful about what he says. And a lot of times when people see him on like Crash or something like this, it's, he's running the whole entire event. So there's not a lot of time for him to kind of relax or get into that playful state, but he definitely brought it on the open announcement show. So that was really cool. I get paid the 0.000001 per episode. Yeah. As soon as I start making money, I guess this all I'll give you a little too. Stand a year late. Yeah, I know. We should be paying Souza royalties. Oh, you're too nice. Sweet. So we got a couple things on the agenda. I kind of always bounce back and forth. To be completely honest, I had a complete schedule flip last night, kind of into this morning, and oh man, I missed a meeting this morning. It was like an early meeting before I went down to the fire academy to work with the Livermore Pleasanton Fire Department, and I never do that. And so right when I wake up and like saw that had already well, actually I was already at the gym and stuff, but by the time I like realized, oh damn, I completely like forgot to reach out or reschedule that, it just kind of throws me into this whole like tiff, like almost like when you just start feeling like the dominoes are falling and then you just start beating yourself up for some reason. I don't know. I was in one of those mindsets that at first, like when I was coaching class, I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do the show. I don't have the energy. I'm not in the good mindset. And then as I started to like warm up a little bit and get over myself, I decided that I'm gonna jump on and hang out anyways. Just try to stay consistent regardless of how I feel. So we got a couple topics up here today. This interesting kind of theme that's happening. It feels like this weird, like storms brewing. It might just be me living in my little echo chamber, but it seems like something's happening in the CrossFit space with like the World Fitness projects, these like CrossFit Games type stuff, like just this weird kind of, I don't know, people call it a divide in the community, but I don't even think it's a divide in the community. I think it's like just the athletes branching almost off. And I don't blame them for any of it, but it just feels like something's percolating here. And rather than just completely beating the dead horse of the drama that you guys all already know and are quite familiar with, I figured we'd take it a different direction and talk about truth versus society. And I think a lot of times we get into this position where like society kind of dictates these things that we take as truth, but they're not really truth. So what do I mean by that? The first thing I mean is, you hear it all the time. Money can't buy you happiness. Money can't buy you happiness. Often repeated by people that are broke or people that are really, really rich, which is kind of funny. There's not really much of a in between. But that's a lie. And here's why it's a lie. Money isn't necessarily gonna bring you internal happiness, but what it does is money allows to bring it within your control. Okay, so here's what I mean. A lot of people go, oh yeah, if I had money, it's not gonna buy me happiness. It's not gonna, I can't buy something to make me happy. No, but what it does is it allows those external pressures, the external stress when it comes to finances, for you to just not have to worry about that. Like, think of all the different type of stuff that kind of nags in the back of your mind or stresses you out. And now put yourself into a place where all the financial portions of those stresses and worries just go away. They're just gone. And if you really put some thought to that, meaning like, hey, I don't even have to really show up to this job. I have enough money. I get to choose what I want to do for work. I get to choose what I want to do with my time. Nothing externally is going to happen, meaning I have to fix the car or I have to do, whatever the case may be that starts to stress us out. It's just gone. You just buy it and you do the thing. And a lot of people, especially society, they think like, okay, well, that's just not just going to bring me happiness, but really it allows you to control your quote unquote happiness or your pursuit of happiness, because really it's just a fleeting state, right? We work towards that large goal, we accomplish it for a moment, we feel happy, and then we kind of get used to it. Now we're off to the next thing. And especially as times where like I think I paid like $15 for eggs. I never remember like looking at eggs before and thinking that, oh wow, this is kind of expensive. But the last time I was at the grocery store and I picked up like the carton of 18 or whatever, and it was like $15 for the white ones that are bleached and probably not real eggs. I was like, oh shit. Like, damn, has gotten a lot more expensive. And luckily I'm in a fortunate position where like those little type of expenses that creep up over time aren't huge in terms of stress for me, but you definitely still notice them. And I think as that happens more and more and more, people get more stressed out. You get more of a negative mindset. And really, if you think about it, it just comes back to, if you had more income, if you had more means to take care of all that stuff, those stresses would just completely go away. It would just completely go away. Bob, money can make things more comfy. That's right. It buys your financial freedom. Correct. Hey, Han, what's up? Good morning, afternoon. 99% of my stress is financial. Please send money, right? So you imagine just all of a sudden, all those stresses are just like, it's gone. And when I think about it in terms of the gym and stuff like that, I want to make a ton of money. And the first things I think about when I say that, because everybody kind of goes someplace else in their mind, like, oh, he wants to be greedy, or oh, he wants to buy whatever, a house or a fancy like material thing. But the first thing I think about is like, how cool would it be to not have to have any restrictions on equipment? So I could just buy as much as I want, program anything I want to, and just completely not have any financial constraints there. Be freaking awesome. Judy Reed, shouldn't we learn to find joy in all circumstances? Absolutely correct. And not to go against what you're saying there, because I do believe in that. I'm just talking about truth versus society. Truth versus society. And so that's just one example. Another example that I think about all the time has to go with like public education. A lot of you guys know that I was not exactly an all-star student, or maybe some of you guys don't. You see the stupid bookshelf and all the things behind me. And truth be told is I don't think I ever finished a book cover to cover when I was in any formal education. Maybe like To Kill a Mockingbird and I don't know, probably one other one. But I really didn't start to dive into like learning until I realized, oh shit, you could actually have education without this formal, like I need to be in a seat and I have to stay confined to the school and the way that they do things. And as you guys all become adults and graduate, maybe there is something like in the back of your mind that told you like, it seems like majority of this stuff is just bullshit busy work. Like there's not that much valuable stuff. And it doesn't take any much thought into realizing that, going back to the financial piece, there's no financial literacy. Like it's not a staple of a core curriculum. Like I would presume, and majority of people probably watching this, especially if you guys in the comments, I know that you guys all are aware of this. But I would say if you guys walked around and you started asking people like, hey, do you know that money is created when a loan gives out a bank, or when the bank gives out a loan? Like that's when money's created. And so you deposit your money into the bank, and as long as they have 10% of it there, they can loan out 90% more, effectively creating money in that process. The majority of people are like, "What? It's just made up?" Yep. And they don't teach any of that in school. None of it. You're also not taught how to think. You're majority of the time, at least here in the public education system in California, especially in the Bay Area, they don't teach anything in terms of critical thinking. There's no problem solving. It's not about problem solving in formal education. It's about here's the material. Can you study and memorize the material? And then can you regurgitate it back to me? There's no forcing the boundaries out, typically. And you're also not sitting there like creative problem solving and finding ways to figure shit out, being resourceful. That is something else that is not really pushed that much in school. Again, at least not here in the Bay Area, because majority of the people go, "Oh, I don't know, I couldn't figure it out." I'm like, dude, we have more access to information between YouTube and search engines, and now with AI being able to search stuff, that it's absolutely like you really don't even need to learn to memorize anything, as weird as it sounds. You really need to just learn how to be resourceful, to reference stuff and to look it up and then decide, hey, is this information valid? And how what method did I use to kind of validate this information, whether it be just like some personal validation you use or other sources. But rarely is any of that stuff taught in high school. And then a lot of times when it goes to colleges, especially in the US, like university, they come up with all these BS type majors and stuff like that. So you're really not even like educating yourself on much in terms there either. A lot of it's just kind of this like indoctrination camps. And you start to feel like, oh man, I'm an educated person. I got my degrees and I got all this. And like you look at society in the terms of the way of money, managing your money, managing your resources. How do you buy back your time and your freedom? How do you pursue something in life that gives you purpose? How do you start problem solving and contributing to your community so you can find fulfillment? Like none of that is in school. It's like, well, what date did this happen on? Okay, write it down. Fuck, even in PE is so pathetic. It's so pathetic now. In California, I was part of the like the transitional like class that came up that they kept like experimenting with mine and the grade behind me. So you would go to, you'd go to school, and PE did have like sports and stuff for a period of time where it would take you through all of them. Then slowly that kind of went away, and then it was like weird line dancing and shit got brought in, and now I don't even know what it is. But I guarantee you, there's not a lot of physical output, and you're definitely ain't building any muscle or getting any stronger there. And the other thing I think about, and the last one that kind of made me want to put this at the top here, is something that is referred to as the minority problem. And this is, oh, Mike, you had to too. Oh yeah, I had to square dance for gym class all summer. Ridiculous. Right before I went through in middle school, one of your options was like wrestling or like some of this other stuff. And then the second that it opened up for us to kind of pick the extracurricular in terms of PE, all that went away. It was absolutely crazy. It was crazy. Bernie, what's up, dude? The U.S. public school system is based on the 18th century Persian model established to create a population of obedient workers and soldiers for the state. 110%. And it was even established as the kill two birds with one stone, because now if we just line up the class times with the typical 9 to 5 jobs, we have daycare. And let's just be honest, 80% of it is daycare, not education. Yep, we did vindicate. Yep, we did square dancing in ballroom for a bit. So weird. So weird. But there's this thing called the minority problem. And there's a great video called from a YouTube channel called Picking Nuggets, where I really dove into kind of learning about this a little bit more. But essentially what it is you have one group, a minority of the group, and they're unwilling to change. And then you have a majority who's kind of like, it doesn't really matter to me either way. I don't really want to put up much of a fight. And I know a lot of you guys, if you think about just the political climate in the US and how things have changed, like you're like, oh, okay, I could see that. But here's an example that's going to move it away from something political. When they first were switching cars from like stick shift to automatic, the big push and change that came from a production level was the fact that majority of people would find driving a stick shift. It didn't matter. Like if you had like the family there and, if you were buying one car for the husband and wife type situation from back in the day, like it wouldn't matter as much. Or if you had a couple, like a kid or two driving. And it turned out that all it took is one person in a group of, let's say, 5 people that were like, I can't learn stick. I'm not going to learn stick. And then the rest of the group was like, well, it doesn't really matter to us either way. And so the whole thing changes to automatic. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just using that as an example where you have one minority fixed group of people that are saying we are unwilling to change. And then you have the majority of the people that aren't willing to stand on anything that just kind of say, well, we'll kind of go with whatever. And then you end up having big changes coming for a small group of people that want the changes and a big group of people that maybe don't, or maybe haven't really put enough thought into it to be unchanged. And if you guys are nerded out about the military like I did back in the day, there used to be, not used to be, there still is, but it's old now. I think it was like class 236 or something, and they followed a Navy SEAL group through basic training. And I think it was like a 5 or 6 part documentary that Discovery Channel put on way back in the day. And one of the things that was a constant theme that happened throughout the whole entire basic training at that time was they would always say the needs of the mini will always outweigh the needs of the few. The needs of the mini will always outweigh the needs of the few. And it's somewhere along the line, it ended up switching into what's referred to as the minority problem. And again, I'm talking about minority, not in the sense of like race or anything like that. I mean, like literally, like the minority of people want A, the majority of the people want B, but we go with A because it's an unfixed minority. And we're focused on pleasing the small, maybe loud crowd that is unwilling to change. They're fixed in their position. And the rest of the people are, eh. And so when I think about the truth for society things, and kind of like to just capture in the storm that's kind of like brewing here, is we have this weird situation. I can't even quite put my fingers on it, because in terms of like coaching and affiliate owners, in the heart and soul of what keeps CrossFit and this whole entire movement going forward and helping and touching more people and bringing more people into the fold, really has absolutely nothing to do with this big fixation on what's happening with this like quote unquote divide in the community. It really doesn't fucking matter. Like in terms of the impact that we should be having as a collective total on just your average everyday person. But yet we seem to be spending so much of our time and effort just on that small minority of a group that wants something to me that isn't even flushed out, and ultimately comes down to like, we want more money. It's like, fuck, so do I. So do I. And in the last show, somebody wrote a comment saying like, hey, don't underestimate how important it is that the games are there, because that brings people in and yada, 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 yada. And like, I've heard the whole thing before, and like, great. But that's because we don't have any other lens to look through. CrossFit, and we're going to switch over to our history lesson here in a moment. CrossFit, it's there's more to it than just our CrossFit games. And it really wasn't even part of it. It wasn't even supposed to be part of this whole entire thing. And we've just lost sight of it because we're like, hey, this is the big marketing tool. So we lean into that. It showcased that we have the best methodology, the best fitness program that exists. And if you disagreed with us, you could show up at our festival and you could compete against our people that are using this protocol for their strength and conditioning, and they will beat you. And we don't even have to know the events ahead of time. We could roll the little hopper. We could pull stuff out that nobody even knows what's going to occur. And it doesn't matter what's going to happen, because if you use this training methodology, you will beat everybody else who is not using this training methodology. And it completely changed the landscape in the culture and everything when we started moving way more towards the CrossFit games. And I would argue that we as CrossFitters, or the collective here, ended up getting the massive growth and the massive appeal that came, especially in the early years, from actually leveraging technology. And so here's our little history lesson, which is, and I know this story a little bit, so I might screw it up. So if some of you guys know it in its entirety and I mess it up, whatever. But on February 10th, 2001, we had the very first CrossFit blog pop up. The very first. I'm gonna bring this up here, and this is the first time I screen shared with this new layout. So let's hope it goes okay. Let's see what happens. Can we move to this? Okay, cool. And you guys could still hear me, I hope. All right. So this was it. No photo. Remember, this is 2001, you guys. So posting a blog and having this forum and stuff like that, it was just starting. And to do it independently was like, meaning you weren't doing it through like an AOL or on something like that. Like, it was just being posted on there. There was forums and comments, and like this stuff was just really getting going back in 2001. But interesting enough here, we have our very first workout. Okay, so we have fast and heavy. It's going to be dumbbell and thrusters, and put in quotation because you have to remember that wasn't a very common term then. 21, and then we have run 1/4 mile, 400 meters, which is funny because all that got standardized eventually. And then you see the rest of the workout there. 18 thrusters, the run, 15 the run. Okay, but look at the notes here. A thruster is a deep front squat to a push press, all in one explosive movement. Time routine from start to finish. Ranking is a composite of the load used in the thruster and total time. Submit body weight because load value is based on percentage of body weight. Now, why is that important? Well, if you go back to the real early days, I mean, look at even this stuff like hang from the pull-up bar and slowly curl body up until toes touch the bar, 15 reps. This is the first time we saw toes to bar come up on here. Right? Notes, increase deadlift weight each set. Maintain perfect form or you'll cripple yourself. Straight up. Right? Cycle effort is all out. This is not a cruise. One on the bar, toe touch, move in slow motion, i.e., no swinging at all. No swinging at all. And then we have here the 2 cycles, high resistance, high RPMs, right? So we have like different indicators or notes that Glassman was putting in at this point. Today's workout is simple yet elegant, whole body circuit. 30 reps of 20 medicine ball cleans, 30 assisted pull-ups with half your body weight as assisted. Repeat 25, 20, 15, and 10 reps for all 5, for a total of 5 rotations. Record and report your total time at all 5 stations. So as you guys scroll through this, you will really start to notice here that there wasn't a ton of like standards on this, meaning like 225 or 135. It was really an individual program. One that you could do in a group, but an individual program. And it's funny here, on Monday, we worked gymnastics and calisthenics movements. On Tuesday, we worked metabolic conditioning with the short, middle, and long distance effort. On Wednesday, we were going to work through some classic weightlifting and weight training. Today, we are taking an active rest day. If you perform to expectation, you'll welcome the break. If you know our methods, you'll make an intelligent inference about tomorrow. Hint. And look at this. They literally have in here like bicycle hill climb, basketball, swimming, mountain hike, rollerblading, surf paddle, handball, racquetball, tennis. This was all included in the original stuff. Everything that was based off of the L1, everything that was built off of here was done with stuff like this. Find your best back squat at 5, 3, and 1 reps. Find your best deadlift at 5, 3, and 1 reps. Right? So you guys get the point here. I could bring myself back on stage. So it's like when we look at this in terms of where CrossFit originated from, and really the fitness protocol that was made to be adapted to anybody that was in front of you, whether it was meeting their physiological where they're at, psychologically where they're at, whatever the case may be. And it was also really individualized in terms of like a lot of stuff was done off body weight. Part of the things you'd put in your comments is the weight you used plus the time you got. If you really look through this, there was a lot of inclusion of like introducing yourself to different sports and stuff like that. And when I think back to like the education or like the PE that we all like in the comments were like, yeah, it sucked. We all line dance. Like this should be adult PE. This should be a time where you come in and you get to work on a bunch of stuff. You get exposed maybe to some new type of sports or different things. You get to do it with your group of people. And you get to do it with a great enthusiastic coach that's going to walk you through everything. And now think about that in the terms of the minority problem with the athletes saying like this and that about CrossFit. Like, I honestly think that this quote unquote divide here, the athletes wanting to go off and kind of like they're almost putting themselves to this new thing like the World Fitness Project. And they're like, hey, we're just going to go over here and do this. Like, let them. CrossFit, let them. And the more you guys could get back to the real meat and potatoes of what was important, the better off the whole entire community will be. And I really view us as the leaders in the health and fitness industry. But that's gotten away from us. Our, sport, as we call it now, our festival back then was to do nothing more than to prove that our methodology is the best, to prove that our fitness program, our protocol, it works better than anything else. And now that's just become the whole entire thing. Right? So anyhow, here's something kind of cool that Broken Science just released. And I like this because it kind of gets back to the heart of kind of the health and fitness type stuff in terms of like education, right? Let me see if I could bring up the full thing here. And I'm going to share this screen with you guys. Yeah, I'm going to bring up the whole thing. One sec. My internet is like not loading right now. Okay, go back here. All right, here we go. Okay. Maybe not. Why isn't this working? Okay, there we go. I got it. All right. So it's kind of a tip of the hat to the old blog. Not that. Sorry. Need to figure out which screen exactly I got to share. That is the old blog. Not tip of the hat to it, but it is. All right. So we got this, the Daily Fix. This is really cool because I like the fact that it's including a recipe to it. Back in the day, this was done a little bit at CrossFit, but it's moving forward here now. And I really like the fact that we got like the macronutrient count down there. We have the whole entire thing for preparation, all the ingredients you guys will need, plus a little video that it's going to display everything for you there and kind of give you a little run through of it. And then, of course, we have the body. And here's kind of the cool thing. This released yesterday officially. And to just pay homage to the original blog that Greg launched in 2001 on the same exact day with the same exact workout. So I think I just thought that was kind of cool. I want you guys to also realize that this isn't trying to like repeat what happened in the past. This is definitely like a moving forward version of it with the recipe here. And then my favorite part, which is called the brain. And all of this type of stuff is different articles and things that are going on in terms of Broken Science. But these articles are specifically for trainers. So these articles are like very specifically things that you guys could kind of read through, learn about, and then hopefully talk about in front of your community back at the gym. And even these recipes are like, I think that these are really underutilized. I thought that then when they originally came out back in the day, they were underutilized. And I really want to help utilize to make these more accessible, make you guys use them a little bit more. And I really think the big piece from that is filming some content and some different stuff around it. So I might try my hand in a little cooking show. How'd you guys like that little live cooking show? Light the whole entire house on fire. And then the brain there with the full article, if you scroll down. Now this is on the Broken Science website. So this is a free and accessible to anybody. And if you are part of MetFix, you could add it to your website. Oh, dude, Souza cooks. That would be great, right? And then again, we have the workouts that'll be here. And we got a little comment section. So pretty cool. I'm really stoked about this because of the education piece when it comes like the brain and when the articles and stuff that'll be curating through there. Like, this is great. And look at this one. Today is actually commenting on the Super Bowl commercial, which the reason again why I like that is like if you have like if you're like obviously the Super Bowl commercial and kind of the whole entire like if you guys saw that it was like a really weird thing, but kind of addressed like obesity in the US. I don't know, it was strange. But that's something that'll be a hot topic that your people will actually talk about, right? As they talk about the GLP-1. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting the commercials confused. I thought this one was something else, but I didn't even watch the Super Bowl. Jeez, I'm so lame. And the little almond crusted chicken there. So anyhow, I wanted to show that with you guys. The Pfizer commercial pissed me off. I know, right? It was nuts. I wanted to show that with you guys because there's two things that I really wanted to drive home in terms of why I brought that up. Number one is because I really think it's important that we understand the root of where CrossFit came. Like, it's got to hold, you got to go back to that. We've got too many bells and whistles, and we've let like the personalities and the athletes just move it too far away from the importance of the educating the trainers, professionalizing our trainers. This is what we really need to move on. Okay. Who is writing the workouts? Interesting question. Very interesting question. It's Pukey. Pukey's writing the workouts. Pukey. But I love that blog because it's filling a different need with the article and with the recipes there. It's kind of giving you certain things that aren't necessarily as accessible anymore through CrossFit. And so it's still vitally important that we continue to work towards professionalizing the trainer and continue to bring more and more tools to our affiliate owners to make them more and more successful in that realm. Okay. And I know everybody gets all like, well, now it's a us versus them. And there's this like, no, stop it. I cannot explain. Like, it drives me insane. It's like we're sitting in a fucking M&M factory and we're going to all argue over 3 M&Ms. And meanwhile, behind us, we have 300 million that we haven't even touched yet. Like, we have to get out of our own echo chamber. And I know somebody's going to put in the comments, oh, it's ironic coming from Souza and his fucking text thread in the locker room, boys. I'm talking about us as a total. I'm talking about anybody who is in the health and fitness space that has been involved with CrossFit, that is now involved with BSI. That's like, it doesn't matter which angle you're coming from. Like, there is so much for us to do as trainers and as affiliate owners that wasting our time on this minute stuff that nobody else even knows about. Hello, affiliate owners. How many of your fucking members care about the World Fitness Project? 0. Can't do it right, but you get the point. It's like we're We can't anymore. We got to focus on the main thing. We got to focus on continuing to spread the message. We got to focus on bringing more people into our affiliates. We got to focus on making our coaches the expertise in the space. Why the fuck is anybody else out there talking about all of this that doesn't come from our community? Not the fucking Cali means and them. Focus on seed oils and all this shit. I'm going to go on Capitol Hill. You're a cloud chaser. You fucking cloud chasers. Stop. You're not providing anything. It's like, you guys, we have so much work to do. We have so much of a narrative to change. We have so much media to make. We need to get really, really loud about what we do and how we do it and who we could help. But yet we're focused on the latest fucking drama with the athletes. Fuck. This is not something that, and this is crucial right now. It's crucial because you could almost feel it kind of like slipping away in the sense of like the popularity, the pool of the community, the pool of CrossFit, all this other stuff. Unless we get some people really loud about it, and here's the people are. Here's the people. It's you guys, it's us, it's me, it's you listening to the show, it's the affiliate owner, it's the trainers. Like, we need to continuously be focused on learning and studying our craft. And hopefully tools like the articles and the recipes over at Broken Science, and just you continuing to learn and search and grow on your own is really what's going to make the biggest difference. And I don't know why, and I know there's other people, I don't know why I've like taken it upon myself to think maybe I'm just arrogant enough, but to take it upon myself to think that I could start to grow the whole entire pie and get more and more people to really continue to grow more and more of the pie, right? And everybody else seems to just focus on their slice or what they're entitled to or how they were wronged or how they could get back with this other group. And it's just like, we're just missing the mark. And the opportunity is just slipping by. It's slipping by. And once it divides and fragments, it'll be tough to get it back. It'll be tough to get it back. When Greg sold to Berkshire, opened the door to all of this, right? No, I don't think so. I would really want to do some sort of like triage of like, hey, here's kind of the things where like it went off the rails a little bit. But I would say letting the CrossFit Games get too big was probably the beginning of the end. And in hindsight's 2020. So looking backwards, you could see it easily now, right, Mason? But like back in the day, I wouldn't have thought that. I would have been on the same train forward as everybody else was because it seemed to really be working. He's about to lose it on you. I'm about to do it, Sean. You seem like steam coming out of my ears and stuff like that. Souza, how often do you think the average affiliate hosts a nutrition class for their members? Not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. I mean, we do a 8-week one every single year at the gym. Like we have, it's really about nutrition education. My wife has her master's in nutritional science, and Grace is a registered dietitian. So like, the conversation is a lot at our gym. But to your point, Sean, like we could be doing a lot more. Like we're looking to get a local butcher to put a freezer in the front room. So that way we could have kind of this like community thing to where people want to get together and throw in like a half cow or like whatever the case, they could do it there. The butcher, who actually I went to high school with, will come and like drop them off for us. We're also trying to work with the local farm here in Sonoma, Happy Anchorage Farm. So that way they could come in and drop off their fresh produce at the gym and make it a pickup site. So we're really trying to like facilitate much, much more of that. One time for one of the corporate accounts I had, Grace and I did a actual cooking show on Zoom. It was kind of funny. And we made the meal very similar to like the ones I just showed here, where like you had the macros. There was like, it was a very high protein meal. And that was a lot of fun. That did really well with Wente. It's a popular winery we did out here. We did it with their whole entire administrative department. It went really, really good. My gym does a nutritions and habits challenge. Awesome. I talk about nutrition every day at my gym. Dude, good, 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 good. A lot of times when we have the people that first come in for like their first day, as they're kind of like cooling down and like, the endorphins are kicking from the workout, we usually go through and start to talk about just some bare basics on nutrition, being like, hey, you saw how tough this workout was? Yeah, it's even tougher if you eat a lot of sugar. It's even tougher if you drink alcohol in excess. Ours has done 2 nutrition workshops in a year and a half I've been there. Awesome. 2 is better than 1. Also because one of the owners is a RD. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier, obviously, to do all this. And in full disclosure, like Grace runs the whole entire nutrition challenge. So like without her, it would be really tough for me to do all of it. But here's the thing, even if you don't have somebody like that at your gym, I guarantee you have somebody in there that would be willing to contribute and to do all this stuff. Or at least help you with it, not necessarily like run it in its totality. And I also think too, like, I get that there needs to be this big push for the open right now. Like I get it. But at the same time, it's like if we look into the ethos of like what CrossFit is, the protocol is, and stuff like that, it's hard to not justify having some sort of component like that in there, right? Some sort of nutrition piece in there. If it's the base of the pyramid and it's just often just forgot, we go right to like metabolic conditioning, metabolic conditioning, metabolic conditioning. And truth be told, as I, get around more and more coaches and more and more gym owners and stuff, like their whole entire mindset is also fixed around competition. Like you could kind of see it in the way that they run their workouts and the way that they run the gym. Like you could just tell that it's really focused on like, we're developing a sport here, as opposed to like, we're developing something to make us healthy and metabolically fit. And so I just wanted to chat about that a little bit because I know I've talked about the like the earlier workouts, the earlier side of CrossFit quite a bit. And I just wanted to really retouch on it here for 2 reasons. Because of the daily fix, I think it's awesome. You guys go to Broken Science, check it out. Stay kind of on the pulse of that because there's going to be a bunch of cool stuff that's coming out. And I just thought it was cool too that they kind of gave a tip of the hat to the old blog starting in 2001, but it just really got my mind thinking about like the core principles of what it is that we do and how we've just continued to kind of like move away from that. And I think it's time to make a radical change to move back towards that. But what do I know? Souza, do you discuss nutrition with your firefighters and trainees? Absolutely, Bernie. And you have the whole entire talk that I actually streamed on my YouTube channel, all 45 minutes of it. You probably don't need to watch all of it. But yeah, to that point, dude, we start right away. So their first day in the gym with me is the in-body scan. We get their skeletal muscle mass, we get their body fat percentage, and obviously their body weight too. And then we go through a whole entire discussion on like breaking down that piece of paper, what information they need to pull from it, how they're going to eat, all that type of stuff. And then we check in with them, or I check in with them on that every couple of weeks. And so, yeah, that's a huge portion of what we do. Also at the gym too, there's like an automated text that comes out after I think like your 5th class or something like that, that asks like, hey, did you want to get an in-body scan? Like come in, blah, blah, blah. In-body scans cost money. Depends on where you go, Barry. Depends on where you go. We keep it crazy cheap at the gym. It's like $25, get yourself a scan. $40 if you want a scan plus a whole entire like 30 minutes sit down with somebody to break it down and write you out a plan. Keep it cheap on purpose because I want it to be accessible to most people. We are using the challenge model after CF Livermore's. It's going great and people are learning about choices. Dude, that's awesome to hear. That's awesome, Matt. I'm stoked about that. Trish, need a MetFix app. I don't want to speak too out of turn, but I do think that may be coming soon. I just invested in the Hume Health Scan. It's well worth it. Costs $200. Yeah. I think the in-body scanner that I got, it folds up so I could take it to the fire department so I can move it around. And I think that was like $700 or $800. Obviously, you guys know I'm all for you buying things cash and not creating any debt. But with that being said, if you do decide to get an InBody and you don't want to fork out that much cash, they do have a really reasonable 0% APR for like whatever it is, 30 months, something like that. And you could pay as low as like $135 a month. So as long as you're responsible with it, you do have the cash. You just don't want it to all leave your bank account at one time. You could definitely buy one of those with like very little money down, maybe like $1,000 down or something like that, and pay your $130 or $150 a month for the remaining time. And if you're really good with it, you'll buy it that way. You'll get your 0% APR. You'll start making your payments on it. You'll bring the machine in. You'll build a product behind the machine with the with the money that you start to generate from the machine. You'll immediately put towards the debt on the machine to pay it off. Okay, but you know that I'm not huge on, don't put it on a credit card. Don't put it on 23% APR. Go see if you qualify for it. If you do, you could probably get that in your gym, and you could probably start generating some revenue off of it right away. We got the 270 at our gym. Yeah, that's the same one that I have. I guess yeah, that's the one I bought. DEXA scans are a good alternative, like $75 a scan. Yeah, that's right. I think DEXA scan might be like slightly more accurate. I don't know what the margin of error is, but yeah. Most Trish, come with some facts here. Most universities will do a DEXA scan for $50. There you go. So boom, you could get it in that way. All right. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. We already talked about the storm brewing. I don't want to beat that thing up any more than it is. It kind of got baked into the whole entire message of the first two topics that we had. And I kind of went off on my rant there, but I just think that we're missing kind of the point. I think that we're way too focused on our own little issue and our own little pond. And we can't, until we let go of that and just say, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to expand. And there's so much opportunity right now with like all the Make America Healthy Again. We do have all these other, people that are getting at least like, even though I shit on the means for like trying to get on Capitol Hill and look like clout chasers, because they do to me. Same with like Andrew Huberman a little bit. Like, I don't know. I'm sure they're all great, but whatever. They're not inside a CrossFit gym rolling up a bay door at 5 a.m. and working out groups of people all day. So I don't know, jaded. But I don't think that that's the right approach either. I think the right approach is getting really loud about CrossFit's origins, getting really loud about what you guys do as trainers, really loud about what you guys do as affiliate owners. And if you guys need any help with that, you can go to school.com/media launch, all one word. There's a ton of stuff in there that'll help you guys get going with it. Ton of stuff in there. That's the storm. It's a brewing. It'll be really interesting to see how the rest of this season and the World Fitness Project and all that kind of like shake out after this first year. It's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. Hey, Lisa. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. What's the margin error on that, Matt? Bernie, I'm not quite sure, but it's less than like a percentage point, I think, when it comes to body fat. And obviously that's going to be one of the more important ones, but I can't remember exactly offhand, but I know that it was very small. It was very small. I thought the big storm was coming in 2014, year 4, extinction level that event an asteroid with a 2% risk of hitting Earth. Yeah, well, isn't that funny? We construct all our societies and all these things that are all so important to us, and then nature just comes and fucking poof, it's all gone in like a second. It also makes me think about how fragile society is. This is a side tangent. It's like we have all these like safeguards, right? So much so that people are now like think that they're entitled to like free healthcare or free education or like free this, right? And I think it's a great gesture. I think that should all have access to it. But really, if you think back, like even just like 50 years back, 100 years back, like imagine those human beings as they lived in their day-to-day life, and then drop them over to here with somebody who can completely be subsidized to live on the streets of San Francisco, like completely subsidized. So much resources. You could just live on the street, get your drugs for free, your alcohol for free. If you're in New York, it gets really cold. You go to a high-end luxury hotel. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was like 60 million or something spent to house illegal immigrants. It's like, damn. Imagine taking somebody from the late 1800s even and dropping them into today's problems. They'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? You guys have gone so far off the Richter here. And the fragility of it, meaning like somebody get the big mega light switch and fucking the power grid goes off. All of us go to shit. We turn right back into what we are, which is animals. Oh, but we're so much complex and we have deep conscious thought. Yeah, but you're an animal. Let's kill the power grid and get 30 of you together and see what happens. Less than a week and it turns into just violence and destruction. You damn well know it will. Sean, damn, I still got to pay for my drugs. Dude, just go down to San Francisco, hang out there, get your free fentanyl. Tell them you're an addict and you're weaning off and you can't afford it. Free photos of what? Damn right, I'm an animal. Got that dog in him. Got that dog in him. If anyone can help me out with the link Souza was talking about for the stuff to help us spread the message on what we traders do. Yeah, here, I'll put it right inside the I'll put it inside the chat. Here's that's the thing, the school platform right there. So you could just use that link, copy paste it over. It's free. It'll make you like sign up for it, but it's free. And go through the classroom section, go check out all the stuff in there. Yeah, the fragility of society. It's crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. All right, guys. So we're gonna end on this two things. One of which I already know you guys know, but the other one is looks like CrossFit dropped a dropped a podcast today, and it's not even populating thing. CrossFit training, right? Was it on this? I'm pretty sure it was. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna stay on screen with you guys this time. I think it was live, wasn't it? Hey, it's me. No, 4 days ago. Oh, is it on? Maybe it's on CrossFit's regular channel. See, this was the problem with them starting another channel. I never liked that. It's like you're spreading out all your distribution and have it so much stronger on one side. Hiller's got a new video. Live? Town hall? Streamed? Videos? Oh, it wasn't even live. Damn, I thought this was live.
Agency is really defining our identity. I really just requested, hey, can I just take a pass at that work?
Okay. So it's not live. Why did I thought it was live? Well, at least the camera quality and equipment on these looks 1,000 times better than when they did their first one on the CrossFit training one, right? I'm enjoying this so good. Nicole Carroll's a good dude. Yeah, Nicole Carroll's awesome. She's always speaks so elegantly on all this stuff. All right, I thought it was live for some reason. Dang it. Okay, well, they got a new podcast up. It's the first one. I have not seen it yet, obviously. Because if I did, I would have known that it wasn't live. I thought it was live. Andrew Hiller, it really sucked. Why did I think it was live, dude? Okay, well, there we go. Thank you. You're welcome, Elizabeth. You got it. Andrew Hiller, stop hating on HQ. You know what I was thinking about the other day? All right, that's going to be it. Those are the end of our topics. This is just going to be a little freestyle at the end here. I was thinking about the other day. I was like, where in the world, like, where do you actually think CrossFit would be without Andrew Hiller and Sevon at this point? And like, I don't mean that totally arrogantly, like the whole entire thing is on their backs, but like in serious, like really sit down and like think about like the contribution that they've done. I know some people have like hated on the way that they presented stuff or the people that they went through, and like without that, I view it as guardrails to keep it somewhat on track. And without having that like external pressure of like, hey, you have to keep things on track. You have to keep things on track. If you get too sloppy, if you start screwing around with everything here, like we're going to keep you accountable. And I don't know. Like, to me, I think it would be somewhere completely, I don't know where it would be, to be honest. But like, even when Dave, like, you got to go all the way back to like when Dave got fired. We were like really vocal about that, right? And that helped kind of push him back in. We know that there's a really loud minority out there that want to influence, you know, the executives and do, because they all kind of have that same ideology, if you will. And without having outside forces, like really keeping it to where they have to kind of go, oh shit, okay, so if we do this, how is the community going to react? And like having a moment to actually pause and think about it, because they make as much of an impact in the space as they do, is pretty interesting when you think, like when you really think about it. I know, what's Danny say? Drama free? You mean boring as fuck? Nothing nowhere. Yeah, who knows? Someone else would have filled the space, not in the same fashion, but there's always the next man up. Yeah, the void will always get filled. That's true. The same place it is, actually. You think so, Jonathan? Like, do you actually think so? I do not. I think if you say that, you haven't actually really put enough thought into it. You haven't put enough thought into it. Because if you like if you really think about the influence that they had and the amount of fucking care too, like really caring about the community, defending it more ruthlessly than CrossFit what does. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I think I was just thinking about it like the other day, especially when like you hear fucking people and these fucking agents and shit like that. And I mean, I just want to think to myself, like, where have you contributed anything? Like, where have you contributed anything? Especially in the body of work compared to the body of work that Sevon and Andrew have. And I was listening to Dave's weekend review as Sevon when Sevon was doing the show last night, as I was like coming back from the gym and stuff. And one of the comments was like, Andrew and Sevon only do stuff for like payment. They only care about the money. And I was like laughing out loud at that. I was like, oh yeah, yeah. Because every time Hiller leaves his house and spends a weekend with the athlete, he makes like what, 200K, right? That's the going rate. It's like, no, dude, this guy's coming out of his own pocket to make this happen. And I guarantee you, if you look at it, especially in the earlier ones that he was doing, all of us lost money doing it. All of us lost money doing it. And so, like, it's funny the perceptions that people kind of have, and the authenticity that both of them bring. Like, and here's what I mean by that, because I know that word gets thrown around. It's just like it's just told like it is. No fluff. It's like, you want my opinion? Here it is. This is what I think. And more importantly, this is why I think what I think. Presented. Make your own opinion. And like, I just think that that gives a lot of different perspectives, and it starts to conjure up like a lot of thought that I don't think would be currently in the ecosystem or the community if it wasn't for those two in particular. For better or worse, I know some of you guys out there are like, oh, John Free, oh, they're so mean. Whatever. I get it. I get it. But I just think that there is so much that they don't get credit for. But what do I know? They're my friends, so no typical than an affiliate owner. No different than an no. Why did I come up with typical? Because of the TP at the top. No different than an affiliate owner. Who? Sevon and they do so much they don't get enough credit. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Definitely. And for sure not from the mothership, right? Like for sure not from the mothership. I don't know the Hiller and Grant thing out of the loop. I guess that makes two of us. Or maybe I do know about it and I forgot or something like that. That usually happens. Very common. So I don't want credit, just views. That's right. I know you don't want credit. I know you don't. But I don't care because I'm going to give it to you anyways. All right. Okay, well, I'm glad I did this. I was fretting it this morning. I was just like in such a bad attitude and other shit. But it was fun hanging out with you guys. I really appreciate that. All you guys that come in here, hang out, comment, like, really means a lot. I do appreciate it. Hiller created an annoying spawn named Grant. That's hilarious. Let's not forget who helped reactivate Sevon to get him back in the game, Mr. Souza. Small role in what those two have done. Okay, cool. All right, gang. Thank you guys. Appreciate you as always. Next week, we're going to do something cool. I think bring a guest on or something like that. As Standy would say, somebody to carry the show for me. She's not wrong. You guys have a great rest of your day. Don't forget, we're doing something tomorrow. Greg's on tomorrow. I don't know. Don't forget. Backflips. Yeah, sure. That works too. All righty, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, and bye-bye.